Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
I am also here. Good morning.
And Spence is here.
I'm sort of here.
Yeah, no, you are here.
Yeah.
Our numbers 919-518-9773, Computers 2K voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming.
As they say in Star Trek, I'm stuck in a causality loop.
You are.
Yeah, that's it. Did I say that before? I must have said that at least once before. Sorry.
Spence, is that microphone really side addressable or?
That's all. Yeah, it's got.
Okay.
I'm talking to the little heart that tells me where it is.
Okay.
So, did you see the video I sent you about my mixer?
Yeah. So it works when
Yes.
it's high. I mean,
it's really high. I mean, all the way up.
It's the same one that I have under all the paperwork on my desk in the office.
That's where mine is.
It
hiding.
never is accurate. But talking about mixer, yesterday when I turned on the machine to make sure everything is working, the mixer is dead, a big mixer. So I tried all kind of things and it's dead. It came on a couple of times, but it didn't stay. So I have a spare one, so I put it on. Got in touch with Nick and he listened to it and it sounds okay. Everything looks okay, except I'm seeing that the going out to YouTube and the level of the recording is too high, and I'm gonna have to readjust. I mean,
Well, just turn your mains down a little bit if it's too high.
But okay. Check. Oh yeah. All right.
What Amnon didn't tell everybody was that I was at his house yesterday and I sabotaged his studio.
Yeah, I mean,
I came in with my bandit mask and I put little tricks and wreaked havoc. It's called it was a Halloween prank.
That's why I saw that surveillance
while
video.
he was at Spence, right?
I saw you were at my house too.
Yeah, I may or may not have also been there.
because I caught video surveillance of a guy in a black hood.
Yeah, well, you have really good snacks in your pantry, Spence.
That's
I
it.
helped myself. Thank you.
but after I got the mixer working, and I'm just checking it with the Computers 2K now vMix setup, cameras are not working. What is going on? So I go and I check all the adapters and all this, nothing. Then I look at the cameras and the two main cameras are off.
Amnon.
Yeah.
Amnon. Plug it out and plug it in again?
No, that wasn't it. I had to actually turn them on. The switch on them, I mean, with the switch, they were off. These cameras have not been off for years now. So I turned them on, and when you turn them on, they always lose their configuration, the zoom and the autofocus and all that. So I had to do that. And okay, I got everything, and everything is working, and it's fine. And then I'm sitting here just kind of closing things, and I hear a chirp And I'm saying, what is that chirping now? Because it sounded like it's coming from the corner of the mixer. But down on that corner, down on the floor, is the UPS, the big UPS. And it was telling me to change batteries. And the chirp was getting faster and faster. And I said, now, wait a second. You're not an online UPS, you're a standby. Why are you telling, why's what the batteries mean have anything to do with that?
Did
But
did the UPS answer? When you asked
no,
it?
it did not answer. That's why I just jerked the batteries out, and I took the batteries out, and it kept on working, but it kept on chirping. I took him. I took the. It's a battery pack, the whole tray, and I changed the batteries, 4 batteries, put it back in. It's still telling me to change the batteries, so I switched it off, switched the computer off, switched everything that I can off, and then turned it back on, and everything was fine. So, like Nick said, it may be the UPS that did something to the mixer. Possible.
Well, it's a plausible explanation.
Yep. Yep.
And as we are troubleshooting various issues, technology or not, that is that's
Yeah,
always
it's
the
technology.
case.
Yeah,
The
definitely
plausible,
technology.
even without the technology, other troubleshooting, which I've been dealing a lot with the last couple of weeks, it's always plausible.
Which? Oh, you're talking about the car.
I got a car problem. I got water leaking through my attic. It's just problems
Yeah.
everywhere.
Oh, I've found just in general that things that used to work, like online sites that you go to, or just seem to not work. There'll be like, for example, I go to this one configuration site for when going on a cruise where you log in. Done it many, many, many times. Worked. All of a sudden now it's wonky. Like, what changed? What happened? Why can't you get something, an email saying, go to this site so you can log in. Well, you go there and it's not, the link isn't valid. So it's like all across the workspace. Things are getting missed.
You know what
You know
happened?
what? It is
They
October.
upgraded.
Could be.
They upgraded from Windows XP to Windows 11, and the thing doesn't work now.
Folks, you're missing it. Friday was Friday the 13th. It's October. We're a week and a half from almost 2 weeks from Halloween. I mean, you guys are putting way too much stock into all this other upgrades and ridiculous nonsense. It's October, folks. Deal with it.
It's the best Friday the 13th, right?
Yes, precisely.
Yep. All right. So, what else happened this week?
What do you mean happen? I didn't do it.
I mean, just
We're just glued to the TV, so nothing for us.
Pretty much.
I had
Yeah.
had a couple of issues with my home assistant with some of my Z-Wave connections. They'd work once and then they showed that they were connected, but you couldn't trigger anything. So I just had to reboot I just rebooted the whole instance and it seemed to come back up. Maybe I feel like some of those services like that, I know you shouldn't have to, but I feel like those are things that you might not be a bad idea to put on some sort of cron job to have restarted every 30
Um,
days or so.
no, I would say no, not for Home Assistant specific.
What do you do when
It,
things
it
break and you don't know because you don't use them often? What happens when my house is on fire and my smoke alarms don't notify me because the Z-Wave connection is
yeah.
is not
so
working?
so the answer here is a multitude of things, right? We're talking about a smart home, right?
Sure.
And so a smart home, when you're starting to go into that, one aspect that you're looking at is high availability, right? Becomes a thing that you rely on, even
Yes.
if you're not actively using it. So you need something else, either within the home or outside the home, that is monitoring it and pinging you. and they need to mutually check one another and set it up so you get a notification when something goes wrong. Just assuming that something will go wrong and a reboot will help. What happens when that reboot doesn't help,
That's
right?
true. That's also
So
valid.
that's why, yeah, you're getting into. It's always it's the solution is, to Spencer's point, is adding complexity. But eventually, that complexity evens out, and you get something very very stable. So
As far as smoke detectors,
Mhm.
I would say put regular ones also.
Well, the smoke detectors work. It's the question is, do I get the notification? I'm not worried about the smoke detectors not working. Those are just regular smoke
Oh, that's right.
detectors.
Yeah. True.
But
True, true,
you
true.
know, you've got them set up so that
Yeah.
a smoke detector is great if you're home. If you're not home, a smoke detector is not
Yeah.
necessarily the best because there's nobody to call the fire department until your neighbor sees that your house is on fire.
So
Um,
it wasn't a full Z-Wave failure. It was just two of them that were failing?
Well, that's what I could. That's what it's hard to tell. I don't have many switches on Z Wave. Most of my I have essentially one Z Wave switch, and it's an outdoor switch that I only use during Halloween and Christmas for outdoor lights. And I have automations that turn them on and off every day, um, or turn them off at night and turn them back on in the morning. And it would work once, and then it would not. The log would tell me that the device wasn't connected, but I go into the Z-Wave control panel and you could see that it was pinging the device. Um, and just doing a little bit of troubleshooting, I could get it to work once, but just once. It would run it would run one of the automations once, either turn off or turn on, and then it would no longer be able to run any of those automations on the device. The restarts seem to have fixed it because now that I can see that at least it appears that the automations have actually been running. It's hard to necessarily tell, um, but
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There is really no way to monitor the operation of the system.
there is.
Wait.
Okay.
Other than, let's say, uh, check it every 30 minutes and
you
send
set up
me.
another system.
Yeah, but you have to get
You have two
notification.
systems; they can monitor one another.
Why couldn't you set up a routine to a device that is you add an extra device that you don't really need,
Right.
but you
You
could
set
set
up
up and
another
just have
system.
it so that every so many minutes it does the routine, and then you can somehow monitor that.
Well, no, that's my
That's
point here.
exactly what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
set up another system to monitor it, and you make sure that both systems monitor each other, right? That's how you get high availability. When something goes down, the other will notify you.
Well, I was thinking of something just as simple as set up a controller that controls a light bulb, and every 5 minutes it makes the light bulb go on and off, and somehow you can detect that with another device to say, okay, I detected the light going on.
I mean, it's a lot
Yeah,
simpler than
yeah.
that. Home
I mean,
Assistant
just
is so easy to set up, right? That you can you can do that, right? But that's just a workaround for something that's a lot simpler to set up with this system. The system is already complex, and it knows how to do a lot of things, right? And so if all you want is to know whether the system is online or not, right? You just need a secondary system that just monitors. By the way, you can set up one within Home Assistant that has nothing to do with Home Assistant. The only thing you won't detect is if the server is completely down, right?
Yeah,
Like power is down.
which is not my problem. The server
I
itself
know,
is not going down, and I check it regularly enough where I know that that's not the case. It's
right?
just it's specifically, and
So Nick,
this is
it's
partially my fault. I mean, if I'm being honest about it, I don't have Z Wave. I have one, two, three. I have five devices in Z Wave. One is a leak sensor in the hot water heater. That fortunately isn't something that you deal with very often, so you're good there. I've got two smoke alarms. Again, those are not going off on a regular basis. I've got an open and close sensor on a window that turns the air conditioning off, which the air conditioning's been off for the last 3 weeks anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then I've got this outdoor plug that I use twice a year.
So here's
So
the thing.
partially it's the fact that I'm not using it on a regular enough basis where I'm actually seeing whether these Z-Wave devices are actively doing something or not.
Actually, the only issue. So how far away is that outdoor switch from the hub?
Less
The
than
furthest
30 feet.
away, or it's the closest?
They're all about the same. I'd less the Z-Wave stick is right
30
here,
feet, 40
less
feet.
than 30 feet, no more than 30 feet, and one wall.
But outside.
Correct, but right out the front door, which is like I'm looking at the front door right here. So it's not too far. The signal strength is not the problem. It was something with I had to go into the device, and every time I had to refresh the values and update the topics. I didn't know what either of those were. I was just clicking everything until something happened.
Have you
And
tried re-interviewing?
The guest was gone.
Yeah, the guest is gone. I'm not on the air this morning, so I can't interview somebody. But that is, I think that may have been the thing that fixed it, but it would fix it once, and then one of the automations would run. It would either turn it off or turn it on once, and then the same thing would happen. The state would be unavailable. But again, the
Right.
weird part of this, Gal, is inside of the Z-Wave JS panel, I could see that because it's a plug, it's constantly pinging. It's not having to worry about battery life. And I could
Right.
see that it was actively being pinged constantly. It wasn't like it was asleep or anything like that. That's what was so weird about it. But a server restart and an update, which, no, I didn't do the update. That failed. The server update or the server restart seemed to fix it.
So, okay, update to what?
Well, that's the problem. I have Home Assistant Core and Home Assistant operating system, and neither of them will update correctly. So I have a larger problem.
Okay, so we'll definitely deal with that afterwards. I've dealt with that tons of times. So, uh, uh, the so here's the thing, right? There's a lot of components involved. First of all, let's
Sure.
talk about the monitoring. Just finish that in Home Assistant, right? You can add an add-on for Uptime Kuma, and that can monitor a lot of aspects and notify you, on your Discord or via SMS, or you can figure out there how to set
Sure.
up the notification. So first of all, you can built into that system, you already have an option for
Yeah, I've got that
very
set up.
elaborate notification. Okay, so you just need to figure out how to notify it, right? It can run a command, it can access a specific HTTP point. It's something you can figure out. So that's number one. Uh, and that's within the system, not an external system. The other one is about Z-Wave. So Z-Wave in Home Assistant is managed by something called an add-on, right? And as you said, both add-on and core, they need to be in compatible versions because when they update in tandem. And if you are a bit far back, then that definitely can be the reason, right?
Sure.
You can disable auto update completely, right? And you should be fine going on for a long time. But then if you update one, you should update the other as well. And
Of course.
if something happened during those updates, then yeah, you might get into like some sort of limbo state where things are funky. So definitely worth. I'll be glad to help you look at it. It's usually something stupid, like you don't have enough disk space that you didn't think of where to look, or something like that. It's like it's um, it's because it uses underlying Docker system. Uh, then it's not very intuitive to know where to look at unless you're familiar with the architecture. So once,
I will make one recommendation to folks. I would not, if I were to do this again, I would not run the Home Assistant operating system as a standalone VM. I would run it in turn inside of a Docker container and do it that way. I had the availability to use it as a VM, and I thought that was that. I mean, again, I don't remember when I installed Home Assistant. God, it's been at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
at the time that looked like a pretty cool option. But if I were to do it again, for anybody looking at a Home Assistant, running Docker and then running Home Assistant inside of Docker, I think probably would have been a better
Well,
idea for me.
so I would actually recommend the other way around, and the reason is, um, if you run it as a Docker container, you
Mhm.
only get core,
Sure.
right? And that means that it's on you to manage connectivity to any other aspect that you want. No add-ons. Okay, add-ons are on you. There's
Oh, really? I
no,
didn't know that.
yeah, because for the add-on system you need the supervisor. The supervisor is baked in to the OS, and the supervisor manages the other Docker containers that are running alongside the core. So it's a they did an amazing job, basically orchestrating containers on their own in a very very effective way. Now, there is an option where you run over Docker in something called supervised mode, but it's very limited. They say it must be a Debian system, it must be this version, it must be, and it's not smooth. It's basically an community supported project, uh, which they allow as long as these parameters are used. That's how I run mine. Uh, there's there's a set of headaches associated with that as well. So there's the most supported way, the easiest way usually is just using their VM. Uh, but even with that, there might be issues, right? But that's the easiest to get support from the community over there. So VM is the best way. The best way is having a dedicated machine. Okay, let's be clear.
Sure.
The best way, right? Um, but that means either using very low powered machines like a Raspberry Pi or something at that capacity, which is it's not a server, right? Or a full blown server, but then you get a lot of hardware doing a lot of nothing. So um, need to find the middle ground. The VM is usually the best solution.
How does the average person who wants to do this stuff, if we're pulling our hair out all the time, right, with the things that we fool around with, and the average person, and I don't mean I'm not by any means degrading the average person. I'm just saying the casual user who
Right.
goes and I'm going to put this stuff in, and they put in a simple environment, and it works for a while, and then it breaks. It's like we spend so many cycles trying.
So
It's like it should be simpler, but
I, first of all, I agree, right? And it's getting simpler and simpler and simpler by the minute. Right now, I think this is the simplest system compared to um, uh, uh, you can get a Samsung based Z-Wave Zigbee hub and use their apps. I would not say that is simpler, right? I would say there is one aspect that is simpler, and that you do not need to deal with any DNS issues when setting it up for remote control, right? But other than that, nothing is simpler. Everything is either very, very limited, or it will only work in a very, very specific way that Samsung dictates. The same with Wink, the same with any other Wi Fi based solution. So the connectivity will be a lot simpler, right? But so the initial setup will be a bit more complex around DNS issues, DNS, SSL, stuff like that. And it's complex. But once you spend that hour, right, to set that up, and you read the tutorials, which are phenomenally good, uh, you're done. That issue will never haunt you again. What you do need to keep up with updates. And one of the best thing that this system does is provide built-in backup solutions that something goes wrong, you can revert back very easily. Okay. So I think that is key. Now, with control, you get more problems, right? When you can fine tune every aspect of the system. And so from time to time, if you hit something, the good thing here is you actually have an address community that will be there, right? And will answer. It's not a void. It's not a, did you plug it in and plug it out again, right? You'll get a lot more than that. Uh, Sometimes you'll need to be more involved. Sometimes you just read some other, some other push mode that went through this and figured it out. So um, tinkering is always tinkering. No, I don't think we can get away with it. But I do think this one will take less time out of you compared to, or at least less frustration out of you compared to brand names.
Well, and that's always what it comes down to is, you know, you look at something like the thing I actually use to control a vast majority of the things in my home is a word from Amazon, and I have my bedroom. I have two lamps in my bedroom. That's what I use. That's what controls the lights in there. I have a light in my living room, and I use that every single day. And it goes back to how often are you using that stuff? If there's a problem with a word, I'll know because I'm using it multiple times a day. I think that's also part of this is you kind of tiptoe into this stuff. You don't necessarily use it to its full potential, which isn't inherently a problem, but you don't use it to its full potential, and then you're hesitant because you don't know what its strengths and weaknesses are because you haven't given it the opportunity. It's a very much a chicken and the egg kind of thing.
My issue is I've selected a lot of very interesting, what started out as standalone solutions.
Mhm.
So if anybody came into my house, they would be like, "What the hell are you doing?" Because I'm the only one that understands how everything works.
Isn't
Sure.
that a problem? And I find that a problem here. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, what is Kathy?
Yep. Because I mean, I do use the A word for routines, and very successfully. When I'm away, lighting and all that stuff. But I have other products that will integrate there, but I haven't done it yet. I use it like I have a lot of different brands of smart switches around the house, probably 4 different brands, and they all work with the A word, and that's fine. The integrations are pretty robust. But I have my water control valve and monitoring system for the house that runs on Yolink, right? It's their own controller. It's 900 megahertz. It's not Z-Wave. And at 900 megahertz is great because it doesn't get a lot of interference. And it's a long distance technology. The same thing with UMA. UMA uses 900 megahertz to talk to the sensors I have, the door sensors and other things I have in the house. I don't have a lot of them. I am on the path to abandon that. I'm getting rid of my home number. So I'm going to move to Wise because I have their alarm system, which I think is better. And that will integrate with the A word, with the cameras too. But I just sometimes I just don't have I run out of gas because I'm working on putting something together and I get to the point I'm tired. I've been working on this for 2 days and I'm not where I need it to be. Let me keep it simple, and that way they're separated. So maybe silos are good in some cases, but yeah.
So I think you'll be surprised at how well something like Home Assistant can take all of that and bring it into a single place. Then what you need to integrate with Amazon is just that, right? Because you'll have something in-house to control everything, and you expose that outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another project, and that's
Yeah.
another piece to manage for sure.
I still have, Amnon, this is 10 years ago, a bad taste in my mouth trying to set up Windows Home Server
Yeah.
That
and
was
try
tough.
to use it to record live television, right? I had the cards, I had everything I needed, the special remotes, everything, and it still didn't work. And it was so frustrating. I just never got it to work. Wasted money, built a server, bought software. You know, it was just cards, video cards, capture cards, tuner cards.
Yep.
Eventually, yeah. So
Anyway. All right. Are we done discussing that?
our
I
rant
guess
is
so.
over.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
So, as reported by Bloomberg, Netflix plans to open a number of brick and mortar retail locations called Netflix House in 2025. The stores will sell merchandise based on hit Netflix shows. So you can finally snag that Lincoln Lawyer coffee mug you've always dreamt of. I didn't dream of it. I don't know who dreamt
You want to take? Let's start a pool now. How long before it fails?
it. I
Right?
don't know.
Let's take. You know, well, I say 2 years from now it's gone.
Listen, Netflix house establishments will also offer dining and curated live experiences. To the latter point, the two initial locations are going to feature an obstacle course based on Squid Games. This seems to miss the point of the show's brutal satire of modern capitalism, but that's been par for the course since it took the world by storm back in 2021. Anybody heard of Squid Game?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Are
yeah.
you kidding
Everybody
me? It's
heard it.
I don't know.
Netflix's most watched show ever.
Okay.
yeah. Extremely,
Still.
extremely violent.
Shows you what
Great
I'm.
show, though.
Yeah. Anyway.
I watched it. But you know what? You know what? I'm thinking of my sensibilities when it comes to this thing, and I know there's a lot more people out there that have different sensibilities than I have. So it's possible it could be successful.
Yeah,
Well,
it sounds like they're taking like a Hard Rock Cafe approach, right?
kind of, yeah.
Like a Baba Gump restaurant chain, something like that. So
Margaritaville, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
but
it's interesting though, because you read that, and then Brian and I were talking about this on Wednesday when we were doing
Mhm.
Infection. GameStop has just appointed their new CEO, who is actually the um, guy that founded Chewy. Incredibly successful individual. I mean, he's made billions of. Chewy's the pet website where you can buy pet stuff. It's like Amazon just for pet things.
Right.
And he's now leading GameStop, and he sent a pretty, I don't even know what you'd call it, a pretty hard message to the staff about, you know, the future and everything like that. So it's amazing. On one hand, you've got a video game retailer that has been profitable and successful for the last, 20 plus years, who is seemingly on the out. Yet you've got a digital streaming company that is saying, let's embrace really expensive embrace retail locations. It's a very interesting dichotomy, because GameStop is getting killed because of digital downloads.
Mhm.
Both the new versions of the Xbox and the PlayStation do not have certain versions do not have disk drives, so you can't even buy discs if you wanted to. It's putting them out of business, and then Netflix is saying, hold my beer. We're going to open up physical retail stores. It's very, very weird when you
well,
think about it.
what is? They're not really opening a retail store though. The
Sure.
retail store is just an aspect of it, and it sounds like they're opening a boutique, like a boutique experience, right? Something for those who have a bit more passion about what's going on. It's not about being cheap. It's not about price comparison and competition. It's more about you loved us there, how would you like to also experience something locally,
Can
right?
you say Star Wars Hotel?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
that's
was
out of business.
they just
I mean, it
aimed
was
too
so
high.
expensive. I mean, it was
Yeah,
just,
but if
if this
you
can be, if
go,
this, sorry,
go ahead, go ahead.
no, I would say if this can be at a good price that people are willing to pay, that'd be great. I mean, but if it's going to be really expensive, nobody's going to do it.
So about Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Pay $5,000 for the 3 nights that you're
Oh my
staying
God,
there.
is that how much it was?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not that
It was
that's not that much
ridiculous.
compared to any other Disney
They
hotel.
just
Don't
Disney's just announced they're raising the rates at their parks 21%.
Oh my
course.
God.
Now, they did shut it down, but every single person who shelled out and went to that, right, are raving about it.
Yeah.
So they did it right, right? But the thing is, there is a very limited audience that would actually pay that price.
Mhm.
And that's the thing, right? I think you can call it was ahead of its time, right? Because it will return a different way. It might not be
Maybe.
Star Wars or whatever.
They
but,
need to build
right?
it in Vegas
Yeah.
because you got high rollers there willing to spend. Kyle, did you ever go to Vegas when they had the Star
Those
Trek experience
Oh.
at the Fontainebleau Hotel? That was the first one that had the immersive experience where you got in and you're on the bridge of the Enterprise, and you're standing there and you're going through a whole thing, and they have videos of Riker and Picard and all that stuff coming, and it's like, this is unbelievable. It was like a 7-minute thing, but it was unbelievable at the time. This is 20 years ago, and that immersive thing was just, you just wanted to go over and over again because it was so much fun if you were a fan.
because it didn't cost thousands.
Didn't cost thousands. No, it was, I think it was like $12, $15,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was a ride, right? It was like
Yeah.
an experience. Like you
Mhm.
enter, you exit. Here you enter and you exit 3 days later, right? And you go through and I heard accounts from enthusiasts who actually got to go and stuff, and it is, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Like, but most people are not willing to go out of their way to disconnect from reality for 3 days, or at least they do not believe they would want that until they experience it, right? So it's a complex thing, and I think they were on the right way, but with everything, right? With the pandemic, with everything that happened, right? It just took a wrong turn. And if we didn't experience that at that time, then maybe it would have succeeded. But yeah, it's I think we'll see it again in, I don't know, 10 years. And it'll be a bit different, and it'll probably be even more expensive.
Probably.
Well, the way things are going now with inflation pressures and people having, what money do they have that they can spend on this stuff? Will
All
have
right.
to have to be a lot more recovery.
All right. Gal, you got Sonos, right?
I got a few
There's some news about Sonos.
about them and Google or something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always on the news. Like, it's always happening because they're in battle in courts.
So a California judge has thrown out a $32.5 million verdict win for Sonos against Google after 2 of Sonos' patents were deemed unenforceable and invalid. As a result, Google has started to reintroduce software features it had removed due to Sonos' lawsuit. In a decision dated October 6th, U.S. District Judge William Alsop said that Sonos had wrongfully linked its patent application for multi-room audio technology to a 2006 application in order to make them appear older, and claimed that its inventions came before Google products, as first reported by Reuters.
Ooh.
So
Well, I
that's
mean,
that's
I don't know
amazing that if they did that and the other judge didn't see it or the attorneys didn't see that. I mean, come on.
uh, let's put it this way. Um, I am pretty sure, right, that Google took
Yeah.
the smarts from Sonos,
Mhm.
like as in copy pasted stuff, right? So I'm pretty sure that the original verdict is worthy. The problem is there's probably some technicality,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Google has the better lawyers. I wonder if there'll be like another round of this, but
Uh,
eventually at this point I don't really care. I want all of the products to work in multi-room audio across brands. So I don't really care, right?
All right.
I don't really care that these one compared to these one. Yeah, I don't have stocks in any of them. I just want it to work.
You want speakers that work and
I want,
speakers that
yeah, I
have
want.
all the
I
features that
can
you
say
want.
this: the way the Sonos system works isn't perfect, right?
Right.
It's there are times that I gripe that something isn't working properly. So it's like every other product, but when it works, which is usually, it is it is
Yeah.
fun. The home is filled with music wherever we want, in whichever way we want, and it's fantastic. So yeah,
Yeah.
I hope all products will work this way. That's all. Not it's not like Sonos is the only one. No.
All right. Nick, are you ready for specials?
Yes, I can be. Absolutely.
All right.
So, um, there's a lot of little smart receptacle things that are a lot of little receptacle things you can buy to give you USB ports. Don't do this. So what you've got here is somebody who has taken a regular two gang outlet. They've got one extender plugged into it to, I believe, give you 6 outlets. And then they've got another one of these extenders plugged into this second extender that gives 3 outlets and 4 USB ports. Do not do this.
Yeah.
This
What
is
for?
well, because they're stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the answer to it. The first one, somebody probably assumes that's an outlet. It is not. It is a simple.
It's an
essentially a
add-on.
power.
Yeah.
It's essentially a power strip without all the additional cords and plugs and
Right.
all that stuff.
Maybe
Don't do
Nick,
that.
maybe Nick, we can get the National Electrical Code to add a stupid section.
Yeah.
Not necessarily violating any rules, but stupid.
Well, I can tell you why this is like this, because the one that's plugged into the two gang receptacle has a screw in it. So
Yeah.
unless you have a screwdriver to back it out, you can't. You're not doing that. So don't do this.
They drilled a hole into the one behind us so the screw would fit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, drilled the hole right into the ground. Yeah, they're grounding it through the ground slug. Don't do that.
Amazing.
Let's check out special. Got a couple of cool things on here this week. First off is a laptop, and this is a very similar model to what Spence and I both have. And I'm not going to speak for him, but from all of his previous comments, he's been very happy with his
I
Lenovo
have.
IdeaPad. These are pretty baseline computers. I've got an i5 or an i7 version that I've had for about 2 years now. I bought it on Prime Day. Actually, no, a little over, yeah, probably about a year and a half on one of the Prime days, and I've been very happy with it. Works great. It's got the I don't think this one has it, but mine's got the fingerprint reader on touch. One disadvantage, I know Gal's not a fan, but it still charges through a regular barrel connector. It is not
For this
USB-C.
price, I am not complaining.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks to have to tote around a second charger, but for $389, you kind of deal with it. This is a pretty nice laptop. It's got a Core i5. It's an 11th generation, so it's not brand new, but it's a Core i5 1155 G7. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. It is upgradable. Now, mine also has 8 gigs of RAM, and I have the ability to do an upgrade. I just haven't had a reason to do it yet. There will be a time where it's necessary, but so you'll have that availability. You don't replace the 8 gig stick is a SODIMM, so that's soldered in, but there's an additional expansion port. So you can just match it with another 8 gig stick. Um, so it's got that going for it. But if you're just using it for light work, which is what all I do with mine, it's just my laptop I carry around in my backpack with me where I go everywhere. It's great for that. This is a larger version. This is the 15.6 inch. I have a 13, so it's got a full numpad, which is nice. The trackpad on this is pretty nice. It's one of the glossy ones, so it gets a little oily and whatnot. So just gotta clean it off and keep it clean with that. Other than that, nice computer. Normally 629, which is too much for it based on its specs. But at 389, it's a pretty damn good deal. So you can check that out. It is available over at Best Buy for 389. This ends in 14 hours, so you'll have to pick this up today if you're interested. In terms of ports and connectivity, it's got a couple USB A's that are 3.0 and a couple of USB-C ports as well. So plenty of connectivity, plus a micro SD card slot, which can be helpful if you're they sell those flush SD card, or excuse me, a full size SD card. They sell flush SD cards now that you can essentially use as permanent storage for all intents and purposes. So check that out over at Best Buy. Next up is an Element brand television over at Walmart. I believe Element is Walmart, one of Walmart's brands. Um, it's interesting. You normally see these televisions coming with Roku or Google or Amazon for its smart TV. This is the first time, and I didn't even know they made this. The back end of this is actually Zumo, which is a streaming app. It's one of those, there's 1,000 of them, one of those free streaming apps where it's got a bunch of television shows, a bunch of free to air channels and things like that. But the UI on this is actually Zumo TV, which is rather interesting. I haven't seen that yet.
So
So this is a
they've broken into the space that Roku and what's the other one? What's the other?
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
Well, it
They
makes
broke
sense.
into
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
they promote themselves as kind of a live TV service, which they are. So kind of makes sense to have this just built in as the OS. So they've obviously coined a deal here with Element. So it's 50-inch, 4K, 60 hertz television. It does support it is UHD, and it does support HDR as well. So you can get some of that functionality in there. This is available over at Walmart for got the price 189. If you look online, you're not going to find it. It's an in-store only thing, so you won't be able to order this online.
189.
189. Yeah, it's insane
That's
how
incredible.
cheap
Amazing.
televisions are. All right, Gal, here we go. This is a
What?
Kiwi
Hold
set.
on, hold on.
What?
You said the Walmart one is 189?
189. It will show up
Oh,
as
I see.
289. It shows up as 289 on the
Okay.
website, but it's out of stock. So this is an in-store one. If
Okay.
you can find it, it's one of those your mileage may
So
vary
use
things.
Brickseek, right?
Brickseek for it. Yep. Or just go to the Walmart website and search your store. It's, for example, there's 4 of them available here at one of the Walmarts in Wilmington. So it just
Cool.
depends on where you're living with that. Um, here's a cool little thing. This is a deadbolt. So put this on your front door. This is the Home Connect 620 with Z-Wave built into it. So you can purchase this device, and it's got the Z-Wave radio built right into the device. It's also got a key for a backup, and yeah, this is an electronic deadbolt. Normally 150, on sale for 99 bucks, so save about 35% on that. And it's available in black, gold, chrome, nickel, and what's the last color?
White.
Bronze. So those are the colors that it's available in. And it works with Z-Wave, so that's pretty cool. Plus, it supports up to 250 user codes. So if you've got that many people you need to let into your property, you can go ahead and use that. So yeah, check that out. Available over at Amazon. Next up is a Marseille sit stand desk. The dimensions on this, it goes as low as 28.3 inches. That's the sitting location, sitting height, and it will stand up to 46.5 inches. So you can adjust the range anywhere in between there. The desktop wise, it's not the largest desktop in the world. It's 48 by 24, not small. You could fit two decent sized monitors on it. Anything more than that, this picture that they have up here, I think is unrealistic. You'd be really crammed on that desk. But it's a decent sized desk. Got a headphone holder built into it as well. It's got a holder on the other side for a laptop bag, and it's fully electronic. Plus, it says it can holds up to 176 pounds. So that's the weight that you can have on top of this and move without having the motor burn itself to crisps. It's got three different a programmable height that you can set, or of course you can move it up and down by yourself just by pressing the button. So that is on sale. It's normally $151, on sale for $99, available over at Amazon. They have larger and smaller versions of this as well if you're looking for a smaller or a larger desk.
These are
Let's
great,
see.
but they somehow like if you have a desk with drawers, right, and something sitting beneath the desk, now it becomes replacing that desk is so complex.
Yeah,
Not
Yeah.
like
it's yeah, there's a whole group of there's a whole bunch of these sit sand desks. There's a company called Infinite Cables that makes what they call an umbilical cord cable for people that have desktop computers, and you can customize what you want in this cable. And then it's shielded and it's wrapped in like some sort of I don't even know what that little mesh material, and it's got extra length to it, so you can put a PC on the ground, connect all of your cables to it, and then move it up and down without it stretching everything out. So not for everybody. It's, as you can tell with most of these, this is more of a laptop kind of thing. You're not going to be happy. Most people are not using a desktop with something like this.
Yeah, it's a
But you could if you wanted to.
it's a computer
Um,
station. It's a
Correct. Yeah. So
workstation.
Be
it
nice
comes with its pros and cons.
for people who do
Yeah.
a couple of days at home, couple of days in the office.
Exactly.
Should be you could use the table for something else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's $100. Not a bad deal on that. Even just a year ago, the crank up ones were over $100, and those were a pain in the ass having to sit there and crank a wheel like you're churning butter.
How many pounds
Next
can
up,
how many pounds can it lift? Because maybe you could
one's
put like one under either side of your car. And raise it up.
176.
All right.
So
Oh, okay.
probably not on
Not
that.
enough.
This is a cool device. I've had this similar thing in here before. I was just in Raleigh this past weekend. I really need to purchase something like this. This is a really cool. This is a travel device. Looks like a power strip, and it kind of is. It's a regular 3-prong outlet that you plug into a wall, and inside of this thing you get a 20-watt USB-C fast charger. You also get 3 AC outlets and 1 USB Type A port. So this thing is great for travel. You can charge all of your devices with one thing. If you have a laptop that can be powered via USB-C, that will work as well. Phones, iPads, cell phones, and then the regular
Does it have
AC
the
outlet.
actual dimensions of the thing? Do you see
Yeah,
it?
it does. It's small. It's 4.5 by 1.8. So it's a
Wow.
relatively small device.
Yeah.
It's about the size of a, oh man, I'm trying to think of what would be
Yeah,
a
no,
similar size
4.5
device.
by 1 point. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the size of about one of, if you bought one of those portable power banks maybe 5 or 6 years ago, one of the bigger ones, it would be about the same size as that. So it's compact enough that you can very, very easily carry it around with you. So yeah, check that out. Available over at Amazon for $12.80. Not a bad price over there. We've had the Apple AirTags in the specials a whole bunch, and that's great if you have an iPhone. But Samsung actually makes their equivalent to this, and I didn't even know these things existed till I was looking at specials this morning. This is the Samsung Galaxy Smart Tag 2. So this is the second revision. Didn't know there was a 1, and now there's a 2. So this is very equivalent to the
We
Apple
don't talk
AirTag.
about
It's
the
for
one.
the Samsung ecosystem. Now, Gal, I assume, and you know what they say about that, I assume these are just for Samsung devices.
Now,
I can't imagine that you can use these on any sort of Android device you want. But
so the answer is no. Uh, these are Bluetooth based, so just need their app. If they make an app for iOS, then it works. I can check for that.
okay. So yeah, you can check this out. It's same price as the AirTags, normally for $100. They're 20% off, so you're saving $5 per tag. It's on sale for 79 bucks, available over at Amazon. So check that out over there. Next up, this is a wired home security system. We've talked about not using wireless, and some issues with wireless things, batteries, and all that stuff comes into it. I think this is a pretty good deal. I'll punt to Amnon here in a second. This is the Reolink um, home Reolink HD DVR system. Comes with 4 high definition cameras that are 12 megapixels. The viewing angle is about 118 degrees, and they're IP. So you run Cat 5 or Cat 6 to these, and the home base thing that they plug into provides PoE, so it's power over Ethernet, so just one cable to get those connected. Comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive, and Reolink has an app that if you connect this to the network, you can actually access this thing remotely. It's normally $700, which is definitely not cheap, but you can get it on Amazon on sale for 465. That is the price of this unit, available over at Amazon. What do you think,
Hmm.
Amnon?
I
Pretty
think,
decent deal?
yeah, but does it say how many cameras it supports?
That is a great question. Let me see if I can look at the back of the unit. I think it supports 8.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, that's still, yeah, that's a
think
good
it's
price with the hard drive, with the cameras. Yeah.
Yeah, let me I'll look that up after we're off
Okay.
here. I
All right.
believe it's got 8 ports on it, but it
Okay.
just comes with 4
Keep going.
cameras, so
That's fine.
you can update that. And
Nick,
then yes.
not Android. It's specifically Samsung Galaxy phones,
Wow.
which
That's kind of
is
what I was thinking.
yeah,
So yeah, that last
not even
product
Android. Yeah.
is just Samsung. So be advised of that. And then finally, I was talking about my outdoor smart plug. Here's a Casa, which is TP Links. I think TP
Hmm.
Links still owns it
Yes,
unless they've
yes.
sold it off. This is their outdoor smart plug. Cost I think the first smart thing I bought when I was living at home, I bought my parents a Casa plug for a lamp in their living room. They still use it to today. They use it the connection is through Amazon, and they've been very happy with it. And I don't think TP Link as a brand is going anywhere anytime soon. So you can check out this Casa outdoor smart plug. It's IP64 weather resistant, connects via Wi-Fi, and with that you can connect it to Google Home and A Word and IFTTT and all that other stuff. On sale for 15 bucks. So check that out. Available over at Amazon.
I have this in my crawl space.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I control a dehumidifier and a fan. The dehumidifier is always on. I don't turn that off, but the fan goes on a cycle every day. It runs for 2 hours to circulate the air around my crawl space to keep because I keep the humidity down. And the dehumidifier is in one corner of the crawl space. So yeah, it works great.
Excellent.
Nice.
I did an interesting
Hold it.
TP Link
Hold it.
upgrade.
Hold it. Hold it. Let's see if this is really somebody. Morning.
Hi, Amnon.
Yes.
This is Valerie. I was wondering what the brand of that desk was that he was just showing, the electric desk.
The brand name is the Marsail, Marsail. If you're in the chat, I just posted the link to it. If not, click the specials tab, and the PDF has got all the links on it.
Yeah, you can
Wonderful.
go later on or even now to the Computers 2K Now where you're watching the show, and on the
Uh-huh.
left in the menu at the top it has specials, and
Okay.
that whole file with everything is in there. You just click on it.
Perfect. Thank you so
If
much.
you purchase it, give us a call back and let us know how it is. I'd be curious.
Absolutely. Thank
Awesome.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Take care, Val.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
I need to start getting paid for this. This is ridiculous. I'm promoting all these products, all these brands. People are buying it, and I'm not getting anything.
I know.
Hang on,
to-
I need a
I
raise.
tried to pull that at Best Buy one time.
You,
When I went in, I
you-
said, "Hey, I weekly give you guys a plug."
Nick, you know
Well,
what you need to
Looked
do?
and stared at me.
Instead of just providing the regular Amazon link, you should put your affiliate link.
That's a lot of work. I don't care that much.
I don't think it's a lot of work. I think
Well,
it's
it is
just
because I have to strip the Slick Deals one because that's where they come from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to send me yours though, so I can start putting yours on there.
No, it's the same thing.
Well, yeah, but I don't have an affiliate program. So
I think I still do. I don't know. Anyway.
nevertheless, but I'll say this, just kind of everybody, if you buy anything that is on specials, even if it ends up being a piece of crap, will you please let us know so that we can not include some of these things. I try to include things that I've purchased before, like the JBL speaker was a good example of that, but not everything. And Amazon reviews, as we're all well aware, is kind of an interesting thing.
Farce.
One more quick thing. I want to give a public shout out to my good friend Gal. Amazon Prime Day was this week, and it was
Completely missed it.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I was chatting with my girlfriend and looking at some stuff on Amazon, and she goes, "Oh, well, a lot of these companies jack up the price and then put it on sale for Prime Day." And I said, "Well, do I have a tool for you?" And I recommended this plugin that
yeah.
Gal has
Keepa.
promoted for quite some time. It's called Keepa, Keepa. It's an Amazon price tracking tool. I can show it here real quick. This is, let's see, what product is this? This is this Kiwi Set door lock that we were looking at. And when you install the Keepa add-on, you scroll down to this on Amazon, and this is a price graph. So you can tell it how long you want it to go back, but you can actually see that this $99 sale is a good deal because normally this is 165, 150 bucks. It's been down to 120. But you can tell then they didn't artificially inflate the price and then put it on discount to equate it with like the normal sale price of this stuff. So Keepa, Keepa, pretty good website for that, or pretty good add-on, excuse me.
Oh.
Nick, I have a company idea for you. You can retire after this.
Okay.
We'll call it Nick's Dropship. And what you do is you take orders from people for Amazon products, you order it, and you add 20%.
Not only does that sound like a terrible thing, I have to believe it's illegal in some regards. I don't know the legality of that.
They order it, you put their address in when you order it on Amazon, and you hit them up for a premium.
You know what? We'll see if we can see if we start
Dropship.
running that on the show.
Don't call it dropship. Call it boutique shopper
That's it.
experience.
Ooh, that's hot. That's a hot word right now. Boutique
See?
is all
Shopping
the
advisor.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what, man? Travel advisors, that's all they freaking do is book a
Exactly.
bunch of crap for you in a foreign country and then charge you 40%. So I mean, what's the difference?
One time I was traveling on business and happened to be flying first class on British Airways. And I don't know how I got the upgrade, but I arrived at Heathrow Airport for like a 10-hour overlay. And I literally had somebody meet me at the gate that said, "I am your shopping assistant." I said, "What does that mean?" "Oh, well, I'm in charge of taking you through the airport, whatever yours you want to look for, and we'll get you to the lounge and all that stuff." I said, "I don't have any status on British Airways. Why are you doing this?" "Oh, well, you were flagged in the system as somebody important." Like, Okay. So they
Yeah.
I just said, take me to the lounge because that's where I want to sleep. And that's what I
I
did.
think they thought you were a race car driver.
Must have been. Yeah.
It's it's
No, my name's
because
not Michael. Sorry.
it's your status at Computers 2K now.
Either that or
Alright.
or a jockey. And I say, well, I'm twice the size of most jockeys. So it's like height wise.
Now, do you remember, guys, we talked about Microsoft trying to limit how many images, how much storage you have on OneDrive?
Mhm.
And they were saying that after a few months, they will actually delete them. So after Microsoft recently imposed storage limits for photos in a user's OneDrive account, Microsoft has now reversed course after receiving a barrage of backlash. Back in August, Microsoft announced that photos in users' OneDrive gallery and in each of their saved photo albums would count separately toward the company's cloud-based limit of 5 gig. The update was expected to roll out on October 16th, which would force some users to encounter storage ceilings as the extra data was added to their OneDrive.
It happened to me. I got the alert saying you're out of space.
Yeah, but they didn't delete anything, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't even use it. I don't know why. I
Well,
must have had it on like with a new machine that I didn't turn it
That's
off. right
fine
away.
as long as they didn't delete anything,
Yeah,
because
I don't
that's
use it.
supposed to come into play. It was supposed to come into play tomorrow, I guess. Right? Yeah. Preventing additional file from syncing. Customers were surprised by the abrupt policy change. So surprised, in fact, that the company caved to user backlash and recently announced that the change was no longer on the table, which is nice.
I doubt that's the reason.
That they
I truly doubt that is the reason that
Uh,
they back. I think they backtracked because they realized that it would cost them, right, in resources and CPU time to figure out what to delete
oh,
and how, uh, uh, as as opposed to just keeping it there and just buying a bunch of new hard drives, basically, right? Like I truly believe that the math just didn't add up. Like the power consumption of running additional CPU cycles just to figure out what to delete is probably cost them more than just keeping those drives up. So, um, I mean, that's the way the world works right now,
mhm.
and it might it might even, right, been like some sort of marketing choice of, let's say we're going to delete this, and then at the end we can say, hey, we're not going to delete this, don't
Yeah.
worry,
In the
right?
meantime,
And they turned up like the good guys.
and in the
So
meantime, people
yeah,
talk about it a lot.
yeah,
'Cause-
exactly.
Yeah,
It's just a way of
yeah,
yeah,
just like we're doing.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, good for them. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing specifically against Microsoft specifically, right? All of these big businesses, they work in a pretty much similar way. Uh, uh, yeah, I mean, if you're okay with keeping your storage on the cloud, then it doesn't matter who,
Yeah,
right? Just read the little letters, the small letters, and that's it.
yeah. All right. And Google has announced that Passkeys, which they say is the beginning of the end for passwords, are becoming the default sign in method for all users.
Nice.
Passkeys are a phishing resistant alternative to passwords that allow users to sign into accounts using the same biometrics or pins they use to unlock their devices, or with a physical security key. This removes the need for users to rely on a traditional username password combination which has long been susceptible to phishing, credential stuffing attacks, keylogger malware, or simply being forgotten. While security technologies, multi factor authentication, and password managers add an extra layer of security to password protected accounts, they are not without flaws. Authentication codes sent via text messages can be intercepted by attackers. For example, and passwords managers can and have been hacked. So they're going to make
Yeah.
passkeys the default. I mean, that doesn't mean that you could
No,
not.
that's fine. It's all fine, right? But they're also for passkeys are great. Don't. I'm not complaining about passkeys. Okay,
Yeah.
I am complaining about the message they are sending. Passkeys is not the end all to end all.
Yeah.
And the
That,
reason I'm saying it is because you will still need to have your email, you will still need to have your phone number,
Mhm.
and you will still need to have a password or whatever uh, process for the initial authentication. And that is what is being hacked anyway, right? So show me a way where you do not need to go through that authentication process and I'll be happy. A passkey is basically the same idea of the physical the physical security keys, the ones where you plug in and they do the authentication for you, but you need to register them once, right? And yes, from the moment you start using them, that's fine, but that's tied to your machine. What happens when you're not on your machine, right?
right.
So by enabling passkeys, that's fine. By making them default, it means so you're now going to your friend's machine, right? And it is going to ask you for a passkey. And now people in the airport, right? They're going to, I don't know, they're going to accept that passkey. And so the next person coming there will be able to log in.
Hmm.
It's not like the message needs to be this is an addition, right? It is best to use it on your personal devices as a default. It'll make things work out easier. But then again, if somebody has access to your personal device, what do? It's all it's another method. It's a good
Yeah,
method.
it's another
Yes, use it.
option. Yeah.
I yeah, it
Yeah.
is easy. It is a lot harder, right, to capture in flight as it is with passwords. And that is why like a keylogger won't help you, right? Or listening on the line will not necessarily help to mimic that connection and recreate it elsewhere. But it is not going to stop breaches. Don't You are going to see attacks, targeted attacks using passkeys, and passkey will be the reason that somebody gained an access because they gained access to the physical machine or something like that, right? So it's not going to replace all, but it's going to be a bit better. One thing it is going to be a lot more convenient, okay?
Mhm.
Because it means that all you need to do is all you need to know is how to unlock your local machine, and that can be a pin, that can be uh, your webcam, just like we have it with our phones, right? Which is all integrated in. We're now having it also in other locations,
Mhm.
and so yes, it is better. It is not a replacement.
No, it's not. It's not the end of
Exactly.
anything. I mean, this is. I'm sure that's just hype from
Exactly,
there.
the
Yeah.
hype. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm really furious about the hype. It's a
Yeah.
good technology, right? They did good work. It's a standard way of dealing with this. It means it won't be tied down just to, let's say, Android or iOS or whatever, right? It'll be tied in with it will be tied in with password managers and continue to use those. They are important. They are the only thing that keeps you safe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right. So we've been talking a lot about Unity in the last few weeks. John Risitiello,
That's what
CEO.
we said on. That's what we said on Infection.
Yeah. CEO of Unity has resigned from the company in the wake of a pricing controversy that left developers in open revolt.
Wow.
I won't read the rest of it because it's not, this is the important part. So he resigned because
That
of
means
that.
the board kicked him out.
Well,
It's like,
yeah, apparently, yeah, he was
yeah,
giving an ultimatum. So
sort
Well,
of,
yes
yeah.
and no. He's not leaving. He's
no,
leaving, but he's not. They didn't fire him.
right?
He's staying on through the transition of a new CEO.
Yeah.
This is he's taking a fall for this. What he did was really stupid.
Mhm.
Um, well, and again, yeah, we talked about this extensively on Infection.
Yeah.
This was not a decision that was just randomly made by the CEO. I mean, this
Right.
was not something that just one day he woke up and said, "You know what? Let's go ahead and do this." That was not the case. So he's been in the game industry a long time. He's been a major stakeholder in Unity since 2014, I believe. So he's not new to the game. He's been big player in that company for almost a decade. Um, I think he said it a little bit in his comments, that the company needs a direction change. That's where they're at right now. And to get somebody with a different pair of eyes in there at the helm probably isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, no, no. But I mean, the fact that he's taking the fall, right, is huge. It's because he cannot see how to navigate out of it. So, and I'm guessing that is why he's stepping down, because the board is probably pressing for some results, and he's saying, I don't know what you want out of me, right? I've tried this under your pressure, right? And it didn't work out. That's usually what happens, right? Behind closed doors. So they didn't
Well,
fire him, maybe, but he definitely can't work with them. So,
and I think you're bringing up the issue, which is Unity is a for the longest time has been a very either inexpensive or cheap or free game development tool, and there every time I say this, I get a bunch of crap, but it's the reality. These things cannot be free forever. There becomes a
Sure.
period of time where you have to transition and make money. And that is that is that's where they're at. Um and it's tough because anytime you make a big change like they are doing, and you're going to and we've seen this with companies for over a decade now where they have to change their business model. um it pisses everybody off, but it's just the reality of it. It's a lose-lose for everybody.
let me ask this, Nick. Can
Yeah.
anybody make money by using Unity to create a game without Unity getting anything?
Yes, if you're under certain thresholds, yes. The
Okay,
second that you start, and this is where the criticism began. They lowered the threshold significantly for the
right.
amount of money that you were making. Um,
Okay.
but the answer to that is yes.
So my answer here is they've never given anything for free. The fact that they give you an entry point for free, right? That is the world we live in here. Freemium is a phenomenal model. It is a very successful model. You need to manage it correctly, right? So it's not about giving something for free. It is getting your user hooked for free,
Mhm.
right? Which is a different model. This isn't just open source. We're free. We do not need royalties, etc., etc. This is a freemium model. So I think if somebody is criticizing you, it's probably around that. This is a freemium model. It's not a free. Uh, and they've been rather successful. It's just that success doesn't seem to bode well with their internal conversation, right?
Well,
And
and
so,
and this
yeah,
is and this is what you're looking at right now. You're dealing with and you're currently working through pretty tough economic times. Video games are a leisure activity, right? If your option is to buy food or gas, I mean, I assume you're going to be buying that
You
over.
hope, you mean, you
You
hope.
would hope you'd be buying that instead of a video game. And they're trying to compete with the likes of Epic and Unreal, which has got their cash cow in Fortnite, which they've made billions of dollars off of over the last 6 or 7 years. So they're making big advances in AI. They're continuing to update the Unity model, and that is expensive. It is not cheap to do. And Epic laid off 160 people 2 weeks ago. This is a company that last year netted somewhere in the ballpark of like $11 billion, and they're laying people off because of what they're seeing on a macroeconomic level in the video game industry. So every time I say this, I get some comments. Oh, you're just a shill for big business. No, I mean, here's the reality. You continue with your current path that you've projected is not going to work and your company goes out of business, or you make a change and try and generate enough revenue so that you can continue to compete in the marketplace. It's one or the other. It's not both. And I think people
Well, there's
would
another
rather
option.
have them not make a change, go out of business, and then say, "Oh my God, I can't believe Unity's out of business." Well, that's what happens.
Right, but I think the criticism comes from the third option that somehow is never the option, and it is slow down, right? Slow down the race. And
True.
that's the thing. That's like the option that nobody takes, because running through the race as fast as you can burns. Either it burns profits or it burns people, right? Like employees and stuff. So firing people, etc. So you're instead of just burning full throttle ahead, right? There's also the option of taking a step back, and somehow in business, that is never the option. And I think that's probably where the third option exists. And that has to do, yes, it has to do with competitor companies sitting down and discussing, right, what it means to let's not like blow everything out off the rails. But yeah, that has never been the case. So
Well, yes, inherently, I don't disagree with your slowdown
yeah,
analogy. The problem you've got is that the market is dictating that this is a company that needs to make significant big investments in upcoming years. That the biggest one is their AI work. That's
yeah,
where they're really trying to push. And you're seeing that now.
yeah,
Um, so I don't think the way that they went about their announcement was the problem.
I agree.
That was the issue. They are going to come back, and they already have, and kind of reworked the pricing structure a little bit and given some folks some more options. But the freemium model works until you get to a certain size, and then you have to adjust that so that you can continue to operate your business in a useful, successful
Mm,
manner. It's tough. I generally mean when I say it's a lose-lose for everybody, because nobody is really coming out the victor in this. The company pisses off their user base because they make a change. The user base gets pissed off. It's just bad for everybody. But it's unfortunately, and at least from Unity, it's necessary. I really don't believe they have a choice.
Unfortunate. If you guys are probably too young. You remember an author, Tom Peters? Name ring a bell at all? Well, he was big in the '80s for success of businesses, and the first book he wrote was called The Search for Excellence. And he did. I remember seeing videos about they would pick companies like FedEx. Why was FedEx successful? And continue to be successful. The second book he wrote was called The Circle of Innovation. You can't shrink your way to greatness. And it talks just about the same cycle that this company's going through now, and what you have to do to I've lived through companies that thought they were going to shrink their way to being solvent and didn't work.
Yeah, but Spence, I mean, it also depends at the time, on the times. I mean,
Oh, of
today's
course, no. And I'm
situation
saying,
is not the same as it was back then.
no, we've been through so many different cycles.
Yeah.
There was the cycle of the 70s, the cycle of the 80s.
Yeah.
It's always a cycle, but there's a way to, I think what he means by this,
You would hope that they know what they're doing. That's all.
yes, exactly.
That's
and
all.
that's part of the problem is that in a lot of people, it's uncharted waters.
Yeah.
They've never been through this before.
Yeah.
So
Amnon,
Yes.
nobody knows what they're doing.
Well, I mean,
Including
you'd
me.
like.
Come on, we don't know what we're doing. We're guessing our way through it,
Oh,
80% of the time. There's 20% that we know. Come on,
Which way did they go? Which way did they go? Yeah.
what's going on right now? Right? I don't
Gal,
know.
John was asking in the chat about a good free password manager that works across multiple devices. I told him that
Bitwarden.
Bitwarden. So I didn't know about across.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bitwarden works across all of them, and you can either use their hosted solution, which is a freemium option. You can pay, or you can host something like VaultWarden, which is really easy to host locally. But if you want to use it across multiple devices outside of your home, you'll need to figure out some DNS stuff around
So
that, which
it's easier
isn't
to do it
impossible.
with
There's
them.
a lot of just YouTube VaultWarden or Bitwarden, and you will find tons of tutorials about how to. If not, we can discuss this after the show. We can figure it out.
All right. Windows 10 may be just shy of 2 years away from the axe, but its successor, Windows 11, appears to be as unpopular as ever. And this is,
Why?
remember, this is an opinion of
Yeah,
that,
but I don't get why. Like,
I don't know. Well, here, I
Yeah.
mean, look. Windows 11 appears to be as unpopular as ever. The end of Windows 10 support is getting closer. Unless the company blinks, October 14, 2025 will be the end of the line for the Home and Pro editions of the operating system. Yet users seem reluctant to move on to Windows 11. There was a marked reluctance by users to move from Windows 7 back in the day, but some of the reasons for hesitancy this time are different. The move to Windows 10 usually required the purchase of a new hardware. It tended to be unavoidable. 7 could run on far lower spec devices than later versions. The move from Windows 10 to Windows 11 will also require new hardware, but for different reasons. Infamously, Microsoft axed support for the raft of hardware with Windows 11, including older Intel CPUs, on security grounds. The results was that hardware that will run Windows 10 perfectly well will not accept the new operating system. And this is not due to performance problems. Who remembers trying to run Vista on XP hardware? But rather because of
Worked out
Microsoft,
great.
rather because of Microsoft edict. The result? A collective shrug from PC users. Windows 10 does the job. Why upgrade? The figures speak for themselves. Windows 10 dominates the desktop according to a stat counter. The worldwide Windows version desktop market has put Windows 10 at 71.6%, with Windows 11 trailing at 23.61%. I think the main reason why they're talking about you're going to require new hardware is the what do you call it? That
the TPM.
TPM.
Yeah.
And this is something, I mean, I'm even struggling with that here on this machine that runs Windows 10. Even I went and I looked, and there are so many different ways to add it. And they're not expensive. They're like $15 and $20, but you don't know which is right for this particular motherboard. And there is nowhere that you get a straightforward answer that yes, this will work. It's always, oh, this is available for you. This is a so I'm putting it off.
Let me ask you a question, Nick.
Yo,
The Windows, the laptop that you put in specials, does
Mhm.
it come with Windows 11 or Windows 10?
Windows 11.
I don't think
So that's already
anything.
installed Windows 11.
Yeah, I don't
Yep.
think anything comes with Windows 10 anymore. They can't
You'll be
sell.
surprised. There's a ton of old hardware that is still being sold, and they do not upgrade it. They say you can upgrade it,
Yeah.
but it
Okay.
comes installed with Windows 10,
Okay.
right?
I'll verify, but I'm
Yeah.
almost positive. The only place I've seen, yeah, it is Windows 11. The only place I've seen Windows 10 still being sold are desktops. That's
enough.
more prominent is on the
Yeah.
desktop side.
And we do know desktops are on decline, right? There's always the
Sure.
sell of laptops is the one that's rising. I don't know. I mean, it feels to me it's a lot of the fact that
Excuses.
something is getting to the end of life,
Mhm.
right, means nothing to the consumer. Like they don't really care. They should, but they don't. So forcing an upgrade, which is a technical headache, right? I mean, every single person who had to upgrade something, it doesn't matter what, not even Windows, doesn't have it's a pain. Something might go wrong and you need to deal with it. So putting off things has become a standard operation mode, right? Uh, as you said, Windows 10 is good enough.
Yeah.
And so um, uh, it'll happen. It'll
I
happen
mean,
eventually.
I have not
Like,
I have not seen anything in my line of work that requires me to have Windows 11. Windows 10 is working fine. As a matter of fact, the machine that I'm using here for the reruns all week long, and it's working 24/7.
yeah,
It's a Windows 7.
yeah.
Just
But,
because I
then
don't want to bring it down to upgrade it, and I don't know how it'll do under Windows 10. It's not a matter of getting a new operating system or anything because it's doing only one thing and it's doing it right.
right, but
So
it's connected to the internet
it's connected to the internet and
and it's exposed,
probably
right?
it's
So
I mean it has
security updates are very important.
yeah and you know you have a firewall on it and you have an antivirus and stuff so you think and but then I say okay it's backed up uh if they did break into it and messed it up no big deal then I'll put Windows 10 because it's already down
Yeah.
but for now it's doing the job
No, I understand you. I understand.
and that's why
That's what
people
I'm saying.
I'm really wondering if Microsoft will kind of like ease the uh, demand for TPM for for more people to adopt
They
the
can't.
operating system.
They can't. I mean, it's I if they do this,
Yeah.
the backlash will be even larger.
Okay.
Once you secured something, you do not unsecure it just so others will use it. Okay?
Well, I
And
mean,
I mean that hardware will eventually fail. People will
hopefully,
upgrade.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, and remember, we saw it with all the other operating systems. It took a long time for people to go from XP to Windows 7. It took years, but finally it happened. So it may take longer than the 2 years. People may wait and until the hardware fails, and then upgrade. But by
It's,
then, it's probably going to be Windows 21. I don't know.
it's probably not
Uh,
a lot of awareness out there among consumers, but there's an issue with things like printer drivers. The two brother printers I have, laser printers. One, if you when I was upgrading, I bought the new Windows 11 laptop, and when I installed it, no printer driver available. And I went to the brother site, and sure enough, it says this printer is no longer supported by Windows 11. I was able to use the Windows 10 driver,
yeah.
and but I had to do some workarounds to get it to work. So the average person would see this is not supported anymore. Damn, I got to buy a new printer. So, and there are other things too. Scanners that I have, little sheet feed scanners, and that no drivers available, even for Windows 10 in one case, one of the older ones, brother ones I have. So I had to buy a new one. That wasn't terribly expensive,
Yeah.
but it is. There are
Still.
things that are going to happen when people get these machines that maybe they're not aware of.
I totally agree with you, Spence, that hardware adoption, the Windows world, right, has turned into the same behavior as in the Mac world, right? There's a limited window.
Limited. Yeah.
This hardware will only support this and this, and the reason is because the software has finally become rather stable, right? Like comparatively today, there's no big difference than between Mac OS and Windows when you're talking about stability, when you're talking about interoperability with things. They're pretty much the same, right? And the reason is Mac from day one, they said we want to control the hardware 100%. Microsoft eventually found a way of building an OS that no matter what you throw at it, hardware or software, right, it'll keep on working. So the price is probably that that hardware is going to die out faster.
I'm sure they're hoping that.
Yeah. But then again, when
Yeah.
we think about printers, when we think about scanners, when we think about desktops, when we think about servers, we do not think about the general consumer, right? These are home office users. These are niche. These are the older generation, right? Show me a single college graduate buying a printer. They don't need to, right? Nobody's thinking about this today. It's us,
I'll
the
go to
people who
Kinko's.
grew up with the computers in the office, and we need access to that paper.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Yep. Yeah. All right.
especially if you're an employee and your boss has a printer in the office.
Just be careful what you print.
Yeah, always true.
All right. We talked about this for years. It keeps coming up. There's a new Cisco vulnerability in its emergency responder product. This vulnerability is due to the presence of static user credentials for the root account that are typically reserved for use during development. An attacker could exploit this vulnerability by using the account to log into an affected system. A successful exploit could allow the attacker to log into the affected system and execute arbitrary commands as the root user. This is not the first time Cisco products have had hard-coded password made public. You think it will learn?
Well, I was just thinking, why don't they have a task force that goes out to identify, well, where we're exposed? Do they have silos that don't talk to each other? Probably. Seriously, I mean,
I don't
I've
know,
lived in
but I mean,
companies that have product silos, whole different development arms. They didn't share code. So,
yeah.
but yeah, how many times has this happened?
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah.
And
The
not
problem
just the
with it-
Cisco. Not just the Cisco.
Right.
But
But the
Cisco,
problem is for these companies now, right, is that in the EU,
Mhm.
it is against the law.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There was something about my phone. What was it? And I said, I would love to live in the EU now because this would, can't remember what it was though. But yeah, it's Cisco's hardware is in all the key points of the internet, and that's what worries me. You know, it's
Well,
not
you
a
first need access to the internal network, to the
yeah,
management network.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
lot more complex, but yeah, I
yeah,
agree. It's like it's a shit show.
yeah. And ARM warned on Monday of active ongoing attacks targeting a vulnerability in device drivers for its Mali line of GPUs, which run on a host of devices, including Google Pixels and other Android headsets, Chromebooks, and hardware running Linux. A local non privileged user can make improper GPU memory processing operations to gain access to already freed memory. This issue is fixed in Bifrost, Valhall, and ARM 5th generation GPU architecture kernel driver R43P0. There is evidence that this vulnerability may be under limited targeted exploitation. Users are recommended to upgrade if they are impacted by this issue. Oh, yeah, somebody hacked me. I need to upgrade. Come on. What is this? I mean, not if they are impacted, they need to upgrade. You don't take chances. So, and what was there was something I don't know what this actually how much this means to people that use GPT, Chat GPT, but OpenAI quietly revised all of the core values listed on its website in recent weeks, putting a greater emphasis on the development of AGI, artificial general intelligence. So CEO Sam Altman has described AGI as the equivalent of a median human that you could hire as a co-worker. OpenAI's careers page previously listed 6 core values for its employees, according to a September 25th screenshot from the Internet Archive. And they were audacious, thoughtful, unpretentious, impact driven, collaborative, and growth oriented. The same page now lists 5 values, with AGI focus being the first. Anything that doesn't help with that is out of scope, the website reads. The others are intense and scrappy. Scale, make something people love, and team spirit. So I don't know why they have to quietly change it on their.
Quietly just means they did not issue
Yeah,
a statement.
right.
I at this point I don't know. Just to I don't know if this needs explanation or not, but the difference between specialized AI and general AI
Mhm.
is just that specialized AI. For example, the most famous one is the chess player, right? That is an AI built for a specific task or something that is specific, and so the model that is built around it cannot suddenly start creating literature, right?
Mhm.
It's it cannot grow beyond its scope. And general AI is what we've seen with ChatGPT pushing the forefront in the past year, and that's exactly how it sounds. Something that there's no assumption when you start interacting with it, and it can try to figure out of the context of the conversation what to do based on everything that it has been provided in the past. So, which is like how we humans work, right? It's like, oh, I was born, then I needed to learn how to walk and speak, and then I figure out how to, I don't know, assemble something, and I learned what taste is, and I learned how to take that new skill of describing taste and assembling, and then I can start cooking, etc., etc., etc. It's like this complex, layered approach, but doesn't have any limits. So if it can do A, right, then how does it learn to do A, etc. So
Yeah.
that's the difference between general AI and specialized AI, and that's the focus. They say if it's specialized AI, we're no longer interested, sort of. But
Yeah.
one thing I'm unclear of is, does that mean they're not going to deal with stuff like DALI anymore, which is sort of specialized AI to create graphics? Or does that fall under general AI? That's unclear.
Okay. Thanks. Another story here. A man got so fed up with foxes and badgers screwing up his garden that he adapted cameras to help repel them. James Willward linked the Ring cameras at his Surrey home to a device that emits high frequency sounds. He then trained the system using hundreds of images of the nocturnal nuisances, so it learned to trigger the noise when it spotted them. He says, it sounds crazy, but the gadget he calls the Furbinator 3000 has kept his garden clean.
Wait until they learn how to put masks on.
Good.
Or they'll wait
Masks.
for a new one to be born that looks completely different.
Completely different.
You go
Yeah.
there. You go there.
Yeah.
Or they start learning a new language and they'll ask cats to do the work for them.
If you're a T-Mobile customer, T-Mobile, formerly known as the Uncarrier, confirmed plans to force customers on older and cheaper plans onto newer, more expensive ones.
Yeah, that'll be the day I'll leave them.
Well, I know. Astute observers on the cellular industry will surely recall the former CEO, John Legere, assuring customers that they would always be able to keep their existing plans and prices would never rise without their consent. They will also observe that this comes nearly 3 years to the day after T-Mobile merged with Sprint, with one of the conditions for that measure being they would not raise prices for 3 years. It's also worth noting that T-Mobile continues to buy back its shares, recently announced thousands of layoffs, and is now paying a dividend. So keep your eyes on your bill, because you don't get a bill in the mail. You have to log in and get it and see what's going on there. Because like Gal said before, cell service became a commodity. It's not like they're all the same. So there's no loyalty. Yeah. And if you ever used, or I never heard of it, an anime streaming service called Crunchyroll?
Very popular.
Okay, so you could be entitled to a small chunk of a 16 million class action settlement against anime streaming service Crunchyroll. The Sony owned company settled a data privacy lawsuit this week that will result in about $30 settlements for individuals impacted, according to the firm behind the class action. The complaint, filed in September 2022, claimed that Sony shared individual Crunchyroll viewing information with third party sites without user permission. That means Google or Facebook might have seen your anime watch history without your knowledge. So if you were doing anything with Crunchyroll, go ahead and look into it. I mean, it's $30, but hey, $30 is $30.
Look what not configuring a consent form, which everybody will probably, like 99% of the people will just disregard and just continue on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way it is. Yeah. Now, if you use, anybody use Microsoft Teams?
Yep, we use it in at work.
So it says, if you or your employer uses Microsoft Teams for communications, good news. Microsoft is releasing a fully rewritten version for Windows PCs and Macs that promises to run faster while using fewer system resources. A preview of this app was originally released for Windows in March, but the final release covers all types of Teams instances. Re-add
I'm
support.
running it already.
What?
I think I'm running that already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Says it re-adds support for features like breakout rooms and third-party app support, and supports Mac OS. The new Teams app is notable for improved performance and reduced disk space usage, especially when running on Windows PC. Microsoft says that the reformulated version of Teams is up to 2 times faster while using 50% less memory on Windows systems. That sound you hear is old and under speak work PCs in Office, blah, 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 kind of. Yeah. So they just rewrote it, which is nice. Is that because of user backlash? No.
I doubt it was crappy software. It was based on something called Element client,
Mhm.
and a lot of software is written based on the Element client, but it is most of these when they
When they
when they grow,
yeah.
they switch out of it because it is not perfect. It has its own issues. It is a resource hog, and for something that needs to be running all day long, right? It's a problem. So
Oh. Did you see what Eleanor put in the chat when we were talking
no,
about the AI? It says, I'm laughing so hard at these attributes. All in one fabulous person. Yeah. Neat. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Nick?
Nada.
Nada. Friends?
I'll let you know how my negotiations with Sirius XM goes. I'm up for renewal.
Oh.
I
So-
heard from a family member who decided that instead of trying to negotiate a price, just cancel the service. and see how long it takes for them to call you back. He said it took about 5 days, and they called him back, and they gave him a deal like under $100 for the whole year
Yeah.
to get him to come back. Yeah, we'll see. The price that they came back with, each year they send you the renewal statement, and each year it's like ridiculous. It's like I would never think to. It's like one radio in the car is $24 a month, and the other one is 22. I don't know what the difference is. It's exactly the same service, but
And
each
what
year
are
I go
you
back.
paying now?
I think I paid about $120 for the year.
Okay, so it's
So
$10.
it's about
a month.
$10 to $11 a month.
Yeah. Oh,
So this is $22 and $24.
yeah.
And it's like every year I go through this. I said, I'm canceling. Well, what can we do to get you to stay? I said, no, I'm canceling. No, really, what can we do to get you to stay?
$5.
You can give me the same deal I had last year. So
Stay. I want it for free.
Yeah.
Why are you lying? I do not
that's
want to
true.
pay
I
for
said
it.
I would really like it to be free, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I do not want to pay for
Give
it.
me the secret
So
code.
I'm canceling.
Make me an
Yeah.
employee on paper so that I can get it for free.
I doubt their employees are getting it for free.
No, probably not.
Knowing how American corporates work.
You get a
You
2%,
must wear our
2%
shirt.
discount.
It costs $10, right? It's like
I have to get my car wrapped in XM advertising. Right?
Then you won't be able to receive the signal.
That's right.
All right, guys. So I guess on that note, thanks, Spence. Thank you, Gal. Thank you, Nick. We're hoping that Katie is having a good time at the convention she's in, and she's successful in doing
get the
what
good
she-
time. She needs to bring out the box.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's doing fine.
All right. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. And remember to change any place that you're using the same password as another. Change it, make them all unique. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can tell it, your Echo device to play 980 The Wave. Nick does his daily news and commentary show. Later on, if you don't have time to listen to it in the morning, you can go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And Tuesdays, Nick, is it Tuesday this week or Monday or Wednesday?
I don't know.
You
I
don't know.
what day it is
Okay.
this week.
Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. It's a moving target, so you just have to go listen. But survival games, gaming news, and political commentary. So Tuesday,
political.
Wednesday, what do you say?
That's not even really political. It's more just like, like economic, like more of that kind of stuff that's going on.
Okay. Tuesday evening at it's at twitch.tv/infection podcast. One word, infection podcast. Okay, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.